you how to build a 3-story dark aesthetic house shell. You can use this for any roleplay, you can just show it off. Let's get building. So first thing you want to do, of course, is go into build mode. Here in build mode, we're going to do like a very nice diagonal wall sort of thing. And you're going to do that by going 1 block diagonally, placing 2, 1, and there's the start of your house. Next thing you want to do is turn around, go 2 blocks this way, and then drag it out 2 blocks. Then you're going to want to make a wall that goes 5 towards the back of the plot, and then turn around. Make a wall that goes 3 blocks to the side of the diagonal that you just made. Place it. And then make a wall that spans 7 blocks back. And then connect it in the back. If it will connect. Thank you. Then you want to go up 1. And do the same thing that you just did on the first floor, but you're going to want to go back 1 to make a little 3-way balcony, like 3-block balcony. Then you just do the same thing that you just did on the first floor. Then you go up to the 3rd floor and do the same thing that you did on the 2nd floor, but instead of making the diagonal, you just make it straight. Then you just keep going like you normally would. And there you go. So now that that's built, you have to, make a roof. Easiest way to do this would just be to take the roof and pick whichever one you like. Automatic placement. Buy it. For the balconies, you're going to want to use the floor tool. If I can find it. There we go. And then manual placement. If you don't want it to look weird when you make it like whatever color you want, you're going to want to do it in segments. For the diagonals, you're going to do it in triangles, and then for the other segments, you're going to want to do it in rectangles. Do this for every single balcony that you see. You can always go back and add more balconies in other places later. So now that that's built, you're going to want to start fencing it off so you don't fall off later. You're going to do this by going to Fences, Plain Quarter Fence, and then just fencing it off like you would normally do on any other thing. For this, you don't have to do anything special, just go right over the border of the build. And there you go. If you want to make the build a little more fancy, you might want to just do like different colors and sort of like stuff on the outside of the build so it actually looks decent. For example, if you were to do a wall right here, that's the copy tool. If you were to paint the wall, you could paint I suck at this, I swear. Anyway, you could just make it different colors and different textures from the original build outside of the diagonal walls. So this is like a black with brick. And we're going to do that for the rest of this part. If you want to do it easily, you can just shift click. Not sure how to do it on mobile. And then shift click. Just keep shift clicking until you have something good. Like that. After that, you're going to want to do the rest of your walls in a different, lighter color to make it look a little better. So like, for example, smoky gray and any texture you want. I'm just gonna do stone lines. And then I'll just shift click like I did the rest of this like other texture. And this will make your build look a little more unique and less like bleh. I have no idea why the texture isn't showing up, but you get the point. So you're just going to want to do that for the entire build. And it'll look something like this, but the texture will the texture will pop up. If it doesn't, then you can just double check to make sure that you actually did put a texture and maybe like switch it over once or twice to make sure that it actually shows up. But if it doesn't show up, then it's fine. You can fix it later. For the roof, you can do whatever color you want. As like, if you want to make it look good, then make it in like the same sort of color scheme as like the rest of the house. But if you don't, you can make it like blue. But for this one, we're gonna make it a really black with large bricks, because that looks okay. If I can see the texture, that is. You can barely see the texture, but it's there. So after you do that, you're going to want to just map, like, put the corresponding colors where they go. So second color is like this little wall part right here. Make it the same texture, and then yeah, and then this is like the ceiling for the third floor. So you're gonna want to do whatever color the rest of the ceilings of the other floors are, which we'll get to later. So that's good. To decorate a little more, you might want to add some pillars, which will make it pop more. If you really want to make it pop, you would do it in a color like white or like a light color. So like that. Just on any corners that you can find. If you really want this to work, then you could probably have to use the advanced placement pass in Bloxburg, because it doesn't really work without it. So you might have to move some fences around in order to get the pillars to actually work, but it'll pay off in the end, so yeah. So pillar there, pillar there, there. Just keep doing this around the entire build wherever you see like a corner facing outwards. Almost done. We just have to do 2 more pillars and then we can move on to the next step. Maybe 1 more. And then place your fences back and you will be done. after you get the fronts back, you're going to want to color all the pillars white, which I will do now. To make them pop the most, you're going to make them institutional white and make sure that there's really no texture on the pillars, because then it'll make it look a little weird. Make sure you don't color your walls, but if you do, there's always the undo button. Remember to use the shift click in order to make this a lot faster and a lot less painful. There we go. Alright. Next step will be add any exterior decorations onto the actual house that you want to be there. So like windows, doors, and maybe some outside like lights and fences and all that stuff. So what you're going to want to do is go into build, windows, and then use any windows that fit whatever you like your aesthetic is. So for me, I'm just going to use something like traditional window and then place it wherever I see fit. So here and here, and then you can just go over and put one here and there. You can always change the grid size so that they like place better. So if you want it to be anywhere, you can just like drag it around, and if you have advanced placement, you can always toggle object collisions. If you don't, then that's fine. Anyway, cancel. And then you're going to add your doors. So you can always go back and add more windows and stuff later, wherever you see fit. So then you go to doors, and then just choose any door. For the balconies, I would suggest using any sliding door. If you want them to be even, then you could just turn the grid size to its default setting. And there you go. Just keep adding whatever you want until it looks good to you, because no one can really like tell you what looks good and what doesn't. Although eye-bleeding buildings do not look good. For the horizontal walls, you're probably going to want to do bigger windows to make it look more pleasing. My headphones just dropped. So for example, like a large factory window, like right there. And then you're going to want to do different windows that kind of match the whole, like the theme of those, just to make it look cohesive. So something like this. If you have the advanced placement pass, you can definitely just move them around however you want. If you don't, you can still just toggle the grid and make them look nice. After you add rooms and stuff, you can always like put windows on the sides and stuff. After that, you're definitely going to want to make the walls look a little less bland, so you're definitely going to have to go into wall trims right here, and then choose any of the crown moldings, so one of these two, or one of these two if you're feeling a little more bold, but you can just go around and pop those all around wherever you want. Just makes it look better and a little more clean, but also less bland, but it doesn't clutter up the walls too much. Make sure you do that for all 3 floors. Do not forget that, or it'll look a little weird. Alrighty, now that that's done, we should move on to the next step, which will be going inside and laying out the floor plan and all that stuff. So, starting with the first floor, move the window down if it looks dumb. So, like that. You're going to want to put a door, obviously. For your front door, I would suggest doing something with a window like this, or any one of these. Or if you're rich, you can do one of the double doors. So, we're going to do this one, and then we'll color it in more appropriately later. Okay. Now that that's figured out, we should go into build mode and then into floors and then lay out the floor so we actually have one. If you don't want the pattern to look weird when you paint over later, you're going to want to do the triangles just like we did with the balcony, and then rectangles everywhere else, but do it in segments so it doesn't like break up and look really weird. So like that. For the second and third floors, you're going to want to have a space left out for whatever staircase. I usually use the spiral staircases, so we're definitely going to want to keep 2 of those there, and then floor it just like we did with the first. If you want to, you can also leave these open. Which is what I'm going to do. And floor this part so you can get to the balcony, and you're done with the second floor. If you do want to floor this, and just do the triangles and then the different sectioned off rectangles. For the third floor, since there are no triangles, you can just do as you please with the floor without having to do anything special other than segmenting it off so it doesn't look weird. And the floor is done. No, it is not. I lied. I forgot to section off part of this. If you're doing a spiral staircase, make sure that make sure that the floor actually goes together, and make sure that if you do it, that anyway, so say that on the second floor, the 2 blocks are right next to the wall. If you're doing it on the third floor, make sure to pull it out one so that it actually looks good and it goes together. And then you just do the floor. Like that. So that's the shell of the house. If you want me to make part 2 that actually goes in and decorates the house, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll do that. Okay, bye.